and immediately we connected because I could feel his energy. And we share a lot of similarities and a lot of parallels. And it's something I think Dooley and we all share. You know, we weren't all born deep, right? We came from the gutter. We was like, what the song said, we was like Americanized child labor soldiers. We were running the streets doing everything that you hear about, seeing things that you may read about. And all of us come from a past in which we saw how the dark forces can operate, how they can manipulate us as youth. And all of us, part of the reason I salute these brothers is because we all had to find a way to break out of the negative cycles. We had to fight against those demonic forces and all of that. And then, not only that, we had to transform those people around us. You know, so this was the original alchemy, and I felt the energy when I met Tellus. You know, I felt the energy when I met Dooley. You know, I felt the energy when I meet a lot of y'all. Because as he alluded, in this space, you're gonna get a lot of people that claim shaman, but they don't have any life experience. You know what I'm saying? They've been square all their life. They never lived outside of themselves. They've only lived to enrich themselves. So part of this initiatory practice is first off learning to live outside yourself. And I think that's something that was unique. If there was one thing to get out of the street existence, was that collective understanding. You know, we thrive because we thrive, not because we thrive. You know what I'm saying? That's a prerequisite to this work right here. You have to see beyond yourself. And so this is what I saw with Brother Tellus. I mean, because as soon as I come to the conference, here go Brother Dooley. It's the height of COVID. He out here giving people treatments. You know what I'm saying? He's doing this, whatever you need, he's right there. He's not afraid of anything. Then I look over and I see Chief Nighthawk doing the same. I'm like, these brothers ain't scared. You know? And so it's a beautiful thing, and to see melanated folks doing it. So when we had that initial meetup, man, it's been like an explosion, right? Things all over the country, all over the world have been popping off. Connections, friendships, businesses, children, bonds, you know, unbreakable bonds that transcend the physical world. So it's just been my honor to be in lead, and I see several of my comrades and my friends in the audience. So it's a beautiful community we built. When we started, trust us, there was only a few raisins in the yogurt. You know what I'm saying? And we were like just trying to hold it down. So one by one, salute to y'all for trusting us, right? You come with this weirdo, yo, try this shit. And y'all trust us. Right. And you see it. And then you spread the word. So big up to us, you know what I'm saying, for spreading good news instead of the bullshit gossip, right? So right. My last time hanging out with my brother Tellus, Nighthawk, man, we had a beautiful time. He was on my land, we were doing a sweat. And like seeing that brother just put in the work, you know, because the minute he hit the land, he's cutting. He's building fires. He's building structure. He would just not stop. I'm like, yo, bro, chill. No. I'm on the task. Bro, relax. I'm on the task. And when you see somebody who put out like that, that gives you a standard, a model of how to exist. And it takes fearlessness, right? Because if you caught up in a state of lack, or if you caught up in a state of only having this much, you can't move fearlessly. But if you stuck in a sense of abundance, like, yo, whatever I got, you can have, because there's plenty behind that, that's when you open up the floodgates. The second rule of like being dope in the sorcery world, right? You gotta be brave enough to just let it go. And draw it back down, everything else that you need. So big ups to my brother, big ups to the family. I can't wait. Actually, we all need to take a picture this year. Because this is like Detroit. The first year, it was like this big. Now it's so big, which is cool. But the intimacy, the friendships, the magic that's gonna happen this weekend, you need to document it. Anybody that started with the Detroit, y'all know what it's like. With this small group, you're gonna see amazing things. And you're gonna be like, yo, I remember the first one we had. Some of y'all that's in the audience are gonna be teachers. Some of y'all that's in the audience are gonna be thought leaders in this thing. You know what I'm saying? You don't even know it. For real. How many of us came to the Detroit conference just trying to find out? And now we got our foot. both feet in the ground doing this work, right? So this stuff is, so just get prepared to do the work. You don't even know what you're going to do yet. All right, go. Another picture of my brother. This is right before we started the sweat. The brother was resting. He man, that's my guy, man. And so let me go back because, when he made his transition, when you do this work and you're crossing this boundary, it's a weird feeling. When you were, let's say years ago, when good friends would pass, you would just get this amazing sense of loss and sadness. You know what I'm saying? But as you do this energetic work, you get the sadness, but not the loss. It's weird. You know what I'm saying? It's like, I'm gonna miss my homie, but I'm not missing my homie. You know what I'm saying? So when you start doing this work, it's kind of, my first instinct, I was feeling guilty. Like people will move on, and I'll be like, damn, I'm missing them, but I'm not bent over because I know they're there. And you go through this guilt thing where you're like, should I be breathing harder? Damn, I should be, you know what I'm saying? But when you live in a continuum, there ain't nothing to grieve. Now, it's something to miss, definitely. But if you're in a continuum, there's nothing to miss. You dig what I'm saying? Now, when we use these techniques, using these power plants, utilizing the sacred technology, the sacred techniques that our ancestors taught us, we can continue the dialogue. So I can tell you, I continue the dialogue with Baba Kalindi. I continue the dialogue with all my folks. I'm serious. And those of you that know how to tap in, turn left. All right. Let's check this out. Let's check this out. You know what I'm saying? So this is the beauty of the work we're doing. We're teaching ourselves how to create relationships that transcend the physical. You know what I'm saying? This is something that the ops don't want. This is my beginning right here. I always start off with this because in this work, and this is another reason, man, big ups to all my brothers and all my sisters. In this work, you must recognize lineage. Because lineage holds you accountable. If you go out here and you making a mess, your lineage is the one that holds you accountable. So you can make up a bunch of mess, but now you got to stand on them ancestors' feet. When you stand on ancestors' feet, you're very careful about what you talk. But it's a lot of lone cowboys, right? Say, I just woke up and discovered this shit. Nobody taught me anything. You watch out for themselves. Because they're not respecting their lineage. Every one of us learned something from somebody. Nobody invented anything. So when you come across these cats like, I'm self-made, run. Seriously. Because if you knew Baba Kalindi, the first thing he said was, no, I'm a student. Matter of fact, his respect for you came from the regard of how you approached him. If you approached him like, oh, great, teach me, he really got turned off. Because it was an exchange. It was like, yo, here, I got something for you. Then he like, I got something for you. And this is the ethos that we roll on. You see what I'm saying? That's why this is the equalizer. When you start doing this plant, it ain't no big eyes, and it's people with more experience, but we equalize each other. So when you come into the space, be willing to give and receive. You know what I'm saying? Don't ever approach somebody as, oh, teach me, great one. Hell no. Teach me then. You know what I mean? We can exchange. And as we do this, this is how we get that exponential growth and understanding. Because a lot of these sciences have been lost. And they're stored in our DNA. A bit in your DNA, a bit in my DNA, right? And so I got to respect you as a teacher for things you're sure about. When we put this puzzle together, now we rediscover. All right? In this world, you're going to see a lot of people trying to create platforms and be like the ultra shaman and shit. So anyway, this is my Baba Moudou, born Justin Petty. You know what I'm saying? These are my parents. Eating good old lead-laced fish from Detroit River. You know what I'm saying? I always say 80s babies are like radioactive. Tobacco and leaded gasolines, microplastics, and uranium. Nothing can stop us. Batteries. All right. Give up to my man, my elder, my teacher. Baba Kalindi. He's a father of a lot of us in this community in terms of getting us started and maintaining us. And one of the things that I promised him was to continue this work. But a lot of people say, well, what's the work? You know what I'm saying? And what context did you know Baba in? Well, I knew him in several contexts. Foremost, he was my martial arts instructor through the science of Asaki. And my brothers, Tamarian Institute, we're going to share that with you a little bit later. Also, people don't know, and I can say this in this room, he was my commander. He was my field commander for the Black Liberation Army. I don't tell a lot of people that, but I was commanded by the elders to study under him. And we were organizing, we were securing the luminaries in our community. So oftentimes, it was a martial arts instructor and my commander, Moudou, be here at this time, yes sir. The third thing that we often worked on was the food security. We worked at an African Center school. Bobby was profound in his understanding of food systems and the importance of food sovereignty. I had a little bit of knowledge on it, but we would come together in community and work on community gardens, all this other stuff. The fourth aspect was disruptive technology. So on Sundays we would meet and we would make orgone generators. We would make, colloidal silver. You see? We would do the ancient alchemy of the ancestors. We would work with the harmony, right? We would make colloidal gold. We would make, what's those old school germ busters? We call them, where my old school team at, man? The units you will hold, the parasite cleansers, using a microwave effect with all the Clark zappers. So it'd be literally Sundays, it'd be like a factory. Me and a couple brothers, we working it out. Then the next thing we know, we're making monatomic gold. Next day, we trying to create colloidal silver generators. And then the next, so what he was teaching me was that this movement, this liberation, this struggle, or this work is multi-tiered. It's not just spiritual, it's political, it's financial, it's social, it's psychological, it's cultural. So if you want to prepare for this work, you have to transcend all of those channels. And so what happens is, and this is something else that we look for, because we'll find people, and this is something that Baba admonished me to do. I had to go through these chambers. So if somebody come to you like, yo, I'm the ultra shaman, but everybody around me in misery. Right? I'm the ultra shaman, but I can't even support the elders in my family. Run. Right? I'm the ultra shaman, but nobody knows me outside of my little run. You see what I'm saying? Because if they're not engaged on all those levels, they're not prepared. And when they get hit, you're going down with them. So, for those of us, as we progress in this work, we engage in political, economic, social, spiritual, political. Because this is a multi-dimensional engagement we're in. So yes, your importance of knowing ayahuasca is just as important as you knowing economic apartheid in our community. And how that impacts the stress levels, and how that stress levels impacts disease, and how alleviation of that stress level and disease can give people more creativity to secure their finances. Woo! There we go. See what I'm saying? You can't be one-sided. Another teacher of mine, Sheikh Amadou Mbamba. Around 2001, I was blessed to sit amongst the Morai Brotherhood and be initiated. This is where I got my name from. Baba Moudou Mbaki, his brother. If those of you not familiar with Sheikh Amadou Mbamba, you need to be. Because he was a modern day guru who overthrew the French using spiritual warfare. I'm going to say it again. Overthrew the French using spiritual warfare. There's over 50 documented attempts to kill him. In French documents, in case, sometimes European authorities better, right? But anyway, the French tried to kill him 50 times. They couldn't. He said, fuck it, man, we gone. We done it. And to this day, you can go back to the holy city of Tuba, and as soon as you set foot in the city, everything is free. Everything is free. And they buried it. So this isn't your traditional Islam. These are Sufic mystics.
Sufis.
And so when you go over there, you'll see all kind of stuff. You'll see bilocation. You'll see telepathy. You'll see people say, oh, tell your mother Margaret I say hi. Like, what the heck? You'll see all of that stuff we see in India and West Africa. So this is the tradition I come from. Check Amadou Mbaki. This is Baba Moudou Mbaki's mosque in the holy city of Tuba, which I was blessed to visit. So whenever I go, this is where I go and cleanse my soul. All right, this is kind of fuzzy, but this represents my martial science family. I don't know if I can. Ah, okay. So this is my martial science family, and all of this is connected. And I'm just trying to bring it all together to talk about the work we're part of. This is a picture from one of our martial arts conferences. Okay, of course, this is a picture of Baba Kalindi, him saying martial arts teach people how to live their life and not simply fighting techniques. The truth of the matter is if you engage these energies on all these other levels, hell, the physical thing has been neutralized. I know that sounds wild, but that's one of the secrets he taught me, like in security. He said, well, shit, if they crash in the door of security failed. Because they're supposed to neutralize a threat before it gets there. But that's a whole other sense, right? So warfare, if you look on this stela, you'll see hand to hand, close combat. You'll see sticks. You'll see projectile weapons. What do you see? You see a great big distance between the enemy, right, and the adversary and the defender. Because as you advance in your skill level, you can engage the enemy before they get within physical proximity. See what I'm saying? So this is some of the science that we talk about at Sumerian Institute or in the high spiritual aspects. Once again, representing the work we're doing, I don't want to get too caught up in this. I got a million slides, but this represents the initiatory work, priesthood of ancient Kemet. And the initiatory work, or what we call the Osirian rites, dealt directly with going into the realm of the Duat, or the realm of the dead, and engaging those energies. But it didn't even only deal with that, because remember, Peru conquered what? Both day and what? Night. He conquered both spirit and finance. Dig that. That's what made him the god. Because before, he was just the king on the physical plane, right? He knew how to manage finances and militaries and keep the people happy. But the people were getting their spiritual ass kicked. So he had to go and learn those sciences. And once he mastered both, that's when he became the exalted. Right? That's our duty. That's our job. We have to master the day and the night. We're like a blade, right? Day walkers. This represents the word. Part of what we call shamanistic or healing or priesthood work means managing those unseen energies around you and around the community and marshaling them to the right direction. A lot of times what that means is you can see a negative influence from far away, you have to ward it. Or you can smell a wolf amongst the sheep and you have to push them away. Sometimes it's direct, sometimes it's energetic. But this is part of the work that's supposed to be done. So as you learn to work on yourself, and you learn on protecting your household, then the block, then what we call your psychic community, those individuals who remain in your memory bank. Now, as you get into higher dose realms, you're responsible for those folks, good and bad. That means if somebody in your psychic bubble is on some bullshit, guess who it reflects on? You. So you either have to try to make some adjustments or be willing to deal with it. You see what I'm saying? So this is why in ancient societies, in priest, he'll say stuff like, I know what you're doing, you need to cut that shit out. What are you talking about? Keep playing. You see, because sometimes in this work, those of us that do this work, we're not only responsible for covering ourselves, but other people around us. And when you go into that realm, sometimes they're going to tell you, yo, your nephew on some bullshit. What? Yeah, he on some bullshit. And then when you come up in the waking day, you gotta say, nephew, you on some bullshit. I don't know what you're talking about. You see what I'm saying? Sometimes you have to go and do it yourself. Sometimes nephew is just oblivious to the parasite. And now you gotta go into the higher energetic states and say, let me get this off your shoulder. You call him in the morning. What's up, nephew? How you doing? I'm great.
Right.
I didn't get much sleep, but I'm glad you're good. That's the work.
Yeah.
It's not something you can put on Instagram, or is it? It's not sexy. Nobody sees it. Right? We talk about the raising of the Uraeus. When we talk about this work, we talk about protection. This is the goal. So normally in initiation rites, when you are what they call a neophyte, you are in the protection of a house. That means those priests and those elders that have already ascended are there holding it down for you, just like a baby infancy or a kindergarten. Teachers are not going to let the weirdos from out the street come and mess with the kids, right? So while you're doing this work, you have a certain protection. That's why lineage is important. Because as you moving and these entities try to walk into you, say, nah, that's the Temerian clique, bro. You don't want that, right? But ultimately, your goal is to awaken your Reyes. Now we can go into the Hindu Kundalini thing, which is true. You stimulate this at what? Around 13, 12, 11, some of y'all 7. I know y'all some freaks out there. I'm joking. So this stimulates and this identifies you with the physical sense of the world. Of course, this is when training normally started, and the elders would teach you how to draw that energy up, right? And from that primal urge, you would develop mastery over your appetite urge. You know what I'm saying? I want this now, but I'm gonna wait. Delayed gratification, right? From there, you would develop your emotional component. In other words, you had this base desire, you had this base appetite, but now you got a sense of when it's proper to move. You see what I'm saying? You can temper your appetite and your base urge right here. Through breathing, through bandhas, through certain spiritual locks, you learn to do this. You bring it up to your solar plexus. Okay, now you get a lot more clarity of judgment. You bring it to your heart. Now you're able to empath. Now you don't have to go through this whole process. You can just feel it. Something ain't right. Something is right. As you move up to your thorax, you begin to voice that. That means you speak in words to what? Existence. You got words of what? Power. That's when you have that what? Ashe. That's when you stop talking a lot. You know, because what you say starts happening. That's when the spiritual mastery becomes important, because you better be careful what you say. Physically and non-physically. Say and think. Right? So this is how the ancients were trained. Then you would bring it up, of course, to the third eye. And this is when you'll be able to understand the unseen reality on a much higher level. Ultimately, awaken your Uraeus. Once your Uraeus is awakened, this is your guardian. So this is why the priesthood, once you had your Uraeus awakened, just like Dooley, you know, the ops would be coming, they'd be like, yeah, I see that cobra perched, I'm good. And they would take a live birth. And they would look for somebody whose Uraeus wasn't awakened. You know? But in the process of doing this, you stay within the house so that you won't get attacked in the development. This is why lineage is important. So that as a young child, you're not jumping into the world of adults, spiritual adults, and trying to fight with them. You start off in Little League, and they protect you. But when you're ready for the big league and you get your Uraeus, well, you're pretty much on your own. That's when you have to know the tools of sorcery, the tools of how to protect the home, how to push the energy out, how to close a porthole. Somebody come to my basement and they have an experience, I gotta cleanse that out. Somebody in my block gets shot and murdered, hell, I gotta create an opening. Because a lot of times what happened when John got murdered, his spirit just like, shit, how do I, where do I go? I'm lost. Well, fuck it, I ride with you. Now all of a sudden you're doing a drive-by. Now all of a sudden your mama like, I never thought he would do that. What the hell made him do that? You like, what the hell made me do that? Right? So a lot of what we're dealing with in our community are jump-in entities.
That's right.
A lot of what we're dealing with is unrecycled souls or enities. We have so many entities walking. We have so many energies walking around our community that need to be released. You see what I'm saying? So if you can imagine a city, a community full of, let's just say, houseless people with no food. They hungry. They looking for wherever they can get. So part of spiritual work is opening it up there when John gets killed. Letting him go. Let that energy cleanse out so it doesn't fester and ferment in our community. So by opening up those community altars, those ancestral shrines, doing those community rites to allow those accumulated souls to move through, to bring that fresh energy into your community is important. But this is something we were caught off from. Understanding the Uraeus, the role of the serpent, the snake. Because they taught us the snake is the devil, didn't they? That's what the ops taught us. The snake is your best friend sometimes. This represents to me, and when we talk about going into these nominal realms of consciousness, first we understand that we are living in an illusion. This is a construct. This is a hologram. Science is spirit, everybody has attested to that. So when you go into these states, you're taking your goggles off. You're taking your goggles off and you're seeing the nominal reality for what it is and not for the construct or the filters that you've been given. Now you start to see the reality for what it is, as represented by this, which represents an expanded photonic awareness. I know that sounds crazy, but what I'm talking about is you do this work, your ability to see subtle wavelengths of energy should increase, i.e. auras, i.e. I see dead people, right? As you begin to do this work, your bandwidth of olfactory senses increases. So whereas you normally can smell these, now you're smelling other scents, spiritual scents, a spiritual funk. As you do this work, your auditory sensories begin to expand. Now you're hearing sounds, you're hearing people. You're hearing cries for help that are subaudible, but you're also transmitting information. You're also having nonverbal communication. You see, so what happens is when we do this work, we take our senses and we expand them. And now we start to intermingle with other dimensional realities. So now the work is about becoming more and more aware of them and more sure of what's going on in them. And that's what this glyph represents. An expansion of your ability to see in the ultraviolet spectrum, to hear beyond the decibel spectrum of audio ability, to feel beyond the limits of your textile sense or your tactile sense. You see, this is the goal. This is the Shabaka stone. Why am I bringing the Shabaka stone? Because this is the beginning of quantum physics. The whole idea of quantum physics in the West started here. The Shabaka stone, this is the oldest artifact coming out of Kemet. On each side, there's an inscription that talks about the creation story. This creation story details the whole idea of particle physics and the collapsing of the black hole and our ultimate destiny. It also entertains another amazing fact, something that Western science tries to rebrand, but they can't quite do it yet. And this reality is of time. And the ancient understanding was reverse of what we know. Me and my brother was talking about it, and we're gonna go deeper into it, but the ancients understood that the future dictates the past. The future dictates the past. That means we're growing into what we're supposed to be. Now the Western notion is, of course, we're creating this as we go along, right? And then there's trickster guys that trip us along the way, and there are angels that bless us if we pray. That's the Western notion. Traditional aspect is, we already built our future. We're moving toward it. Now, your ability to move toward that future better or more efficiently is your ability to be in alignment with your proper self. You get what I'm saying? So when you go into the hyper states of consciousness and you say, man, I saw flying cities and I was shooting laser beams out my hand. I split myself. Yeah, that's you in the future. Now the work is how you get there. What work do we do to get there? We all see a collective vision. All of us who've been in this space seen a collective future that's like, damn. Because in the ancient sense, we see the future and we grow toward it. It's kind of backwards, but it's interesting. My grandparents existed so we can exist, didn't they? Yeah, you exist so your grandchildren can exist. What we do now, the only reason we give a damn about putting a roof on the house is not because of us, but they tricked us, right? And this is the seed of individualism when you say, it's all about you. And you are the master of reality. As opposed to, no, we all are in a collective reality moving toward a collective future. And the ability for us to be collectively in line dictates our ability to reach that faster. We'll minimize the headaches such as war, famine, disease, right? So understanding this divine future and how to get proper alignment is what it's about. And this is what our brothers in the different Orisha traditions talk about: the right colors, the right foods, the right days, the right sense, because we all have a certain code that we go by. And as you understand that code, you get in alignment. Now you're in a slipstream motion toward the future. Afro what?
Futurism.
That's what we're talking about. Afro what? Futurism. This is an ancient, well, this is not an ancient, this is a typical design of the African village. And what geologists discovered was, that's a fractal pattern. And the old people say, yeah. Because they understood the science of a fractal pattern, the understanding of building homes in a circular fashion, and the repeated circle and how that can create a convex energy, right? They knew this, but these are people in grass huts, they say, right? They understand the divine future. When you talk to the Dogo, what do they say? Well, we talk to the aliens. We come from there. Oh, they come talk to us every day. They saw the future. They know the future. You get what I'm saying? In the Western world, you shaping the future, right? I want to conquer this world, so we conquer this nation so we can create. You swear you're creating a future. All you're doing is getting in the way of your future. You see what I'm saying? All you doing is blocking the progress of what we're supposed to do anyway. This is why traditional groups weren't interested in conquest. This is why if you was in South America, you're like, what up, Africa? Yeah, we on the way. It wasn't like, oh, they got something, we're going to raid them and take them over. No, because we were all on this fantastic voyage together, figuring it out together. But, you know, we had newcomers or people who weren't oriented to the human family, brand new on the scene, like, well, what y'all doing? Hell, you know, I could just take this and be like, yeah, you can, man, but you fucking the party up. Then they turned the shit all the way around, got us going back into primitive existence where we questioning things like, is killing wrong? It's dumb shit. Should we put oil in the water? I don't know. Should we take care of old people? See, we going backwards. But we think we're moving in the future. We talking about fundamental questions of, do homeless people deserve a house? The fuck? So we've been hijacked by a what? Immature civilization. A infantile, what we call Yoruba civilization. An underdeveloped civilization. So somebody has to be the adult, right? Somebody has to put the toys down, right? It's hard, but somebody has to do it. And that's part of what we do. Why am I saying that? It's not all love and light, y'all. Right? I go to a lot of these white conferences, they're like, oh, Moudou. Then I say something critical about the world. Well, you don't have to be so critical. This work is rooted in love. Yeah. Love is mama telling you, sit still so I can pull that splinter out, right? It ain't always just come get a hug. But see, what happens is we become hostages to their narrative. You see what I'm saying? So we go into their place, and we be like, well, I don't want to upset her. I don't want to mess the love and light party up. You know, I don't want to bring things like poverty into it. We're having such a good time. But these are the children you need to what? Educate. That's right. And education sometimes means harsh realities of what? Life. Yes, the goldfish has died, son. Yes, the circle of life. And this is how we have to act toward an immature civilization. Sometimes you got to tell them things they don't want to hear. And when they have a temper tantrum, to hell with it. But you can't be too caught up worrying about their temper tantrum. And I ain't talking to y'all, I'm talking about so many other personalities kissing ass for a larger white platform. So many personalities that's looking past what's real going on in this world for a larger white platform. Right? They got hell in their community. You won't know that. Because they're not in their community. So we got to look out for that. We call this what? Trap psychedelics. I'm trapping. I'm going to be the new trap star on psychedelics. I'm going to be the big leech of mushrooms. Black mushroom family. It's ours. It started here, y'all.
Oh, man.
I like it. Black mushroom family. Detroit to Atlanta. So here's the orientation we talk about, right? We talk about our future. And this is why our ancestors always had an affinity for the stars, because the stars were our guide toward that future, physically and metaphysically. Okay, we were oriented toward the Hegelian model. The sun is everything. No, it's not. It's just a little dot in the background.
That's right.
Right? And we were also taught that we were earthlings. No, we're not.
Nope.
And we were also taught that every humanoid is a human. No, they're not.
Nope.
This is ancient talk. Our ancients recognized several homes where we came from, several civilizations that seeded this earth. Okay? We talk about Ursa Minor or Draco, Dracula, right? We talk about Orion, we talk about the Sirius, the dog star, and like I alluded, werewolves versus what? Come on, y'all.
Vampires.
It's deeper than just some guy getting drunk off absinthe thinking about it. This is deep. This is where you get your blood to crip. This is where you get all of that. Because the law of the universe is what? Polarity. Doesn't necessarily mean bad or wrong or bad, but it is polarity. And so our ancestors understood that orientation to these star systems was where the seeds of humanity came from, or humanoids. Okay? This is why one of the things we try to do is celebrate the Sigma, or the rising of the Sirius star. Because that was essentially the new year for African people. When I say a new year, I'm talking about a new 25,000 year, not a new 365 day year. The whole goal of the civilizational work. Super longevity, super intelligence, and super well-being. Health, wealth, knowledge of self. That's what it's all about. Using this technology for health, wealth, knowledge of self. Super longevity. I know they taught us that there's a certain span to our life. Now scientists are like, it looks like somebody has manipulated our DNA to put limits on the human lifespan.
Right. Talk about
the ox. They're talking about super intelligence. They're like, AI. I know. They've convinced us that AI is smarter than humans. I know they did. But one human neuron has a quadrillion computer units in it. An AI that can't compete with that. Once again, them folks convince you they bigger and better than you though. Got us scared to death. You heard the street lights? They putting out radiation. Like whatever, man. We cannot get pumped out by these folks. You know, one of my favorite words this month is they. So next time somebody say they, say who the hell is they? Well, you know what they doing to the water. Well, who is they? And if you don't know who they is, find out and educate us. But don't come with no phantom boogeyman shit about they. Find out who they is so we can neutralize they. Otherwise, don't mention they because they ain't them then. The pendulum of time, once again, the future is pulling us forward. Our planet, our solar system rotates around what we call the greater Milky Way, which rotates around a collapsing dark hole. And as we circle around this dark hole, Brother duly alluded to the Kali Yuga, to the changing of time, to the changing of energetic impressions on the earth, to the changes of how we manifest as beings. We're moving through this pendulum of time. But we're taught that, of course, we're static. That we're the same person we were 100 years ago, that we were 500 years ago, that we were 1,000 years ago, which is not true. Scientists have already discovered that there's anatomy in the modern physical anatomy that didn't exist 200 years ago. We have arteries and veins that didn't exist 200 years ago. But they tell us we're not evolving. We're evolving every day. Like I said, we 80s babies, man. We got cadmium in our blood. You dig? You give that to your great-grandparents. So we evolve. That's what I'm saying. Resilience. Do not let them feel that you're so fragile, that you're so vulnerable, that you're so weak, that they have total control over. They don't. They don't. Hell, it'd be a group of 10 militia people that got the whole U.S. Army locked down. So where are they micro drones and satellites and secret listening technology and all this? How come people still robbing damn TCF banks and getting away with it? But they convince you that they're everywhere. They're in the ceilings, around the corner, under the table, in your phone, in your bed. The game. This is what we call the Wizard of Oz, right? When we believed that the dang wizard was a monster when he was just a midget. Utilizing these substances is to give us the bravery to understand that they are midget. And to tell people, hey y'all, they midgets, don't believe them. They midgets. Not to take the mushroom or the plant and come back like, no, they giants, be very afraid. Look, when I went in last night, they were preparing satellites to kill us. Well, hell, you just a fearmonger, get the hell on. I know if I'm prepared for battle, I'll read you, right? I need somebody like, we're gonna whoop their ass. I got the details, I got the receipts. Not somebody like, oh God, they're getting us. Watch out for them charlatans. As a worker, you're supposed to be encouraging the people. You're supposed to be the damn captain walking along the line. Buck up, soldier! You're the greatest! Yeah! Right? Hurrah! Not like, hey, we're gonna lose Sunday. Listen to these people. Listen how they talk to you. Listen what they tell you. Listen how they inflate the ops to be greater than being able to handle it. Listen how they say, well, you know they don't want our kids to. Well, if they don't want your kids to read, whose part is it to read? Yours. Well, you know they don't want us healthy. Well, first off, who the hell is they? And if you know they doing it, counter it. Don't come to me with no they shit. Because that means you ain't taking enough mushroom. Thought produces matter. When they do things, they become real. When they do things, they become real. Perfect example. As a child of the 80s, we were convinced, the elders were convinced, that crack cocaine represented a existential threat that never existed before, and it was much stronger than cocaine. And they concocted it. So our elders said, SWAT team, helicopters, tanks, kicking the doors. There's murderous children around selling this poisonous product, because we were convinced that they had done something to us. But nobody took time to research it. Nobody took time to say, get these fucking SWAT teams out of my neighborhood, right? Nobody said, wait a minute, how are you gonna dilute a substance and it's stronger? How are you gonna dilute cocaine? And, wait a minute. But we went for it, right? And we asked for they to invade our communities, because we didn't take time to research what we're talking about. That's an example of what happens when we believe in they. We invite them to destroy us. Let's believe in us, because thought produces matter. The future produces the past. Remember, thought transcends the physical into the future, crystallizes and manifests in the present. The future dictates the what? This chair had to be thought of before it's created. It had to be put into the future, then crystallized into the present. This is ancient African thought. And as we align our mind with that, we start, oh, things ain't so bad. Oh, things are in what? Divine order. Oh, we're moving toward the right place. Oh, well, let me just figure out how the rhythm go and I can dance even better than this. As opposed to life's so hard, they be throwing curveballs. They got secret plans that we don't know about. Well, we might as well not plan for the future, because they got to. Come on, y'all, stop it. Once again, this is the Osirian trials that we're going through. Masters of the waking day and night. So just as prolific as we are in our spiritual understanding, yes, we need to understand political understanding. We need to understand social understanding. Just as well as you can be a shaman, you need to be able to walk up to that brother on the block and he'd be able to relate to you. And say, man, he cool, I'm gonna listen to him. Not, oh, that fucking weird. I'm fucking with them. Excuse my language, but I'm at home.
That's right.
This is a representation of the universal culture. So when we talk about these mythos, these ethos, like Bobby was alluding to, these systems have certain consistencies in them. It doesn't matter the system you use. If you study hard enough and you study long enough, you're going to discover they're all the same. Now you can take some from here, take some from there, because the beautiful thing about us, hell, man, we got African, we got Native, we got it all, baby. Right? We got the whole toolbox. I'm not putting one down for the other. I get it all. Okay, this is just another example of Adonis. Now, Adonis popularized by this Mithra slang of Mithra, and he wore the Smurf hat. We were gonna get to that, but time is running a little short. This represents what we're talking about here. Every community, we talked about it. You have in this work light workers and dark workers. You have sorcerers and you have light workers. Do not get it twisted. These ancient secret societies were often accused of being dark workers. So this is why we like, oh, the Illuminati. Well, yeah, in our regard, they weren't working the best interest. They weren't working in our best interest. But we weren't working in our best either. Once again, the Crusades, we can go into the whole acacia tree, right? Hiram Abiff. Where's the secret of the lost master mason? And you look over and you see the acacia melodica tree, and that's the secret of the master builder right there. That's it. That's why you cut it with a golden sickle, right? Here, our skull and bones. Look at that. They're using our ancient symbols, right? But if you're uninformed and you see those guys sitting there yelling with a skull, you're like, they're devil worshipers. But if you're informed, you're like, oh, they do ancestral work. That's what this is. It's not devil. It's not eating bones. They're like, yo, this is our founder. And this is where his knowledge held. But that's another story. That's us. That's our system. That ain't theirs. But we haven't learned to use it properly. These are the things we left behind. Right? We talk about these ancient, like those of us, you can go over there right now. You can go to traditional peoples and see miraculous things. You'll see people levitating off the ground, bilocating. It sounds crazy. Go see it for yourself. And you be like, that shit is real. Yes, it's very real. Okay? This sister, very ununderstood, she was considered the saint of Congo. I'm gonna just tell you a real quick story. This sister was considered the saint of Congo. In 1657, she was raised in a monastery, and then she came out with a vision one day, and the nun said, what you see? She said, God is black. What? So they pushed her out of the colonial nunnery. And she began to organize. And this sister, Kempa Vita, a lot of us don't know that she was the mother of Pan-African resistance against slavery. Not Shaka, not the Ashanti, Kempa Vita. And she did it through mystical visions. Y'all look her up, Kempa Vita. Now, guess what? 80 years later, Joseph of the Congo was born. Y'all familiar with Joseph of the Congo? The Black Jesus? Y'all never heard of Black Jesus of Africa? Type it in. Black Jesus of Africa. He died 50 years ago. Oh yeah, lyrical miracles, like chopping Jesus, stabbing him in the heart, him like, you trying to kill me? Heart beating. You can't kill me. This is documented evidence. He was the great-great-grandson of Kempa Vita. This movement don't stop, y'all. This is, we know Grandi Nandi, the great sorcerer, magician. They helped organize the overthrow of the French and the British in the French colonial, in the Barbados, Jamaica, all of that. She's Grandi Nandi. She was renowned for making boiled pots boil without fire. This is one of her tricks, And it's documented in the British Army. You look it up. They say we come across a trail, we see a cauldron of water that's boiling. We look under, we don't see any source of combustion, but some kind of fumes coming out of it that made them all pass out. Seriously, if you look up the Maroon Wars, this is how she would take out whole columns of soldiers with poisonous vapors, utilizing those herbs, Grandi Nandi. She was also the one that helped create the concoction for the zombifying mixture for the sellouts. Oh, bro, you talking to the ops man? Come with me. Sit down. Tonight, you're gonna go to the dock. You're gonna get on that ship and you're gonna blow it up. Okay. That's how we do it. Oh, you the ops? Damn. Come with me. We're gonna make you useful to our cause. Once again, this is the ancient Chaldean manuscript about them, because one of the things we credit Islam with is they preserved the ancient lessons. We would know nothing about Kemet if it wasn't for the Islamic historians. We would know nothing about the ancient, we would know nothing about Rome or Greece. So I always put them there because we have to understand that the transmission of knowledge is so vital. Once again, at the pendulum of time, oops. Last thing is Indra's net. You know, part of the shamanistic traditions in the East is what we call pacing the net, the celestial net. Indra's net is a representation of the interconnectedness of all beings. It deals with fractal reality. You know how sometimes you be like, who am I? I'm just a little person. What could I do? Well, the science of Indra nets indicates that there are certain nodes that you can hit to create reverberations through the universe. Because when me and Baba started working, and the brothers can attest, it wasn't about how many people we crossed over, it was about who we crossed over. Like, this person's in a node. If we cross her over, she's gonna reverberate to 100 people. We weren't interested in, come on. No. That's a no, we're gonna give her an experience. And the mushrooms will tell us, that brother, yup, he represents. And this is how it grew exponentially. This is the sacred work. Indra's node, Indra's net, pacing the celestial net, understanding those nodes that you can tap on to create impact effect. It's sorcery, man. How to pull stuff off. How do you organize an election with 4 people in a major city? How do you pass with 61% with a budget of nothing the week before? How do people just show up and give you $60,000 like, I want to learn about the mushroom here. I want to finance the campaign. And how do 61% of people say, hell yeah? How do 4 people do this? We were taught you need $100,000 and 300 people, right? This is what we call high sorcery. This is how it's done. Indra's net. And forgive my spelling. But understand this is Wakanda, not Woodstock. This isn't an ethno-critical rant, but this is a reorientation of what this is about. This isn't a march toward hedonism, where it's all about sex, party, and drugs, even though that's fun, that's great. That should be part of it. But part of this work should also be about rebuilding that lost soul. That means confronting those forces of darkness. Sometimes that means calling things out that are not comfortable, right? That means confronting ourselves, our weak selves, becoming even better. This is the war that we talk about. It's not Woodstock, even though Woodstock was cool. We know that Woodstock was a government-engineered event designed to destroy the psychedelic movement. That's why we need Wakanda. We need independent nodes in our community sharing this work and transforming who we are. That's who Nighthawk represented, right? That's what Nighthawk did. That's what he was committed to. That's what we are committed to. That's what we're here for. That's why next year it's going to be twice as many people, right? Because we're going to go tell people about this. We're going to bring people in. We're going to educate them. And then in the year after, that's going to be 3 times as large. Because this is for Nighthawk, and we know he was that type of brother that walked right up to you. What's up? Right? And that's how we got to be. We got to be that brother. We got to be that sister. We got to be that friend. We got to be that lover. We got to be that fighter. So with that, thank y'all for your audience.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you, Moudou. That was beautiful. Thank you for honoring to tell us. We have one more speaker before we take a little break before the Tim Marion Institute comes on. This next person is one of Tella's clients and friends, he asked me to come and speak, and I was like, yeah, man, because we shared a real unique experience when he learned of Chief Nighthawk passing, and I feel like not only should we have lectures, but we should have people talking about their personal experiences with these medicines, because that is, I see stories as medicine, and the more we have to collect and put in our pockets may not be relevant today, but maybe tomorrow we can pull it out and say, okay, someone already told me about this. Now I know what to do. And so I wanted to have that as a part of this conference as well, that people share about Chief Nighthawk, we keep his name alive. You know what I'm saying? That's what I'm learning about legacy, is that not only about the information, but also about the friendships, about just the culture of psychedelics as well, and what it brings to people, how it changes people's lives. You know, he was instrumental in changing a lot of people's lives. You know, and he would be so excited, you know, like, man, so-and-so is getting it. You know, they're totally different now. You know what I'm saying? Than when I met him 2 years ago. And I can attest to that in my own life. You know what I'm saying? So it's very important that those of us who have impactful experiences, we can look back from a vantage point and say, man, I've come a long way. I've come a long way. You know what I'm saying? And this brother that I bring to the stage, he definitely came a long way, and he will be speaking about it from, you know, the sports perspective. So, without further ado, J-Mo, come on up here.
Shalom. How everybody doing?
All right.
I'm J-Mo. I won't be too long, but man, Chief Nighthawk, I know everybody when they speak of him, it definitely brings a smile to your face, just because of the light that he shed, man. A black king like that roamed the earth. When I met him, honestly, I feel like I've been on my journey like to meet him when I met him, just because of what he brought to my life. Like a lot of young black men, you know, you go through a lot just to get to a point, and then when you get to that point, you still feel like I got a lot more to go. You know, we always in a situation as black men, no matter what level you go to, where you're in a fight or flight mode, you know what I'm saying? Just to make things happen. Even when you're at peace a little bit, you still remember in the back of your head, like, yo, I gotta make things happen. I think meeting him really took me out of that place and allowed me to find a place of peace in the world that we live in. I'll give everybody a little bit about my background. I'm from Atlanta, Georgia. My folks are from Ghana. Sports-wise, I went to LSU, graduated from LSU, played in the NFL. I played for the Falcons my rookie year, played for the Denver Broncos. I did a little time in Canada, in Toronto, and now I'm currently an Afro music artist and producer. Tellus actually helped me make that transition into the music world. When I met Tellus, he just gave me a release. Like, my hair used to be like really, really, really long. Like, and he just took me through so many like just different phases, like from cleansing my hair, cleansing the energy, just becoming a man. Tellus really taught me to, well, I already was a man when I came to him. He taught me how to be a god. He taught me how to be a king and really like roam this earth in my true essence, my true being. Taking psychedelics, I'll be honest, my lady who's in the crowd right now, she actually put me onto it. Because I'm really from Atlanta. So I mean, I've been through all the ranks of really being from Atlanta, you know. So right now what y'all see is a very much so refined version of me, a high frequency, a high level version of me that's only, but so getting better every day. Tellus just gave me life. She came home one day because she was dealing with a situation where, you know, mentally it was affecting her. And I'm like, man, what can I do to help my lady get on that frequency, on that pace? Because my life was fast, like being in the league, and every day was fast for me, whether it was in the game or outside the game. And, you know, the only thing that was kind of slowing me down in a good way, you know, and keeping me centered was my girl. But I'm like, at that point, she wasn't on her being what she wanted to be. So I'm like, what can I do? It wasn't physical. Everything was more so of a spiritual thing. So one of my guys that was at the studio, I was like, bro, he's like, hey man, your music gonna change, bro, your sound. Cause I sing, he was like, your sound gonna change, bro. I was like, man, what's up with the shrooms, bro? He's like, man, I got somebody for you. I'm like, all right, cool. Shot me his number. He was like, Chief Nighthawk. I was like, look at my phone like, Nighthawk? I was like, nah, I don't know if I want them shrooms right there. I'll just get that weed, I'll be good. He was like, bro, go try him out. I was like, all right, cool. I was like, well, yeah, you take some. Let's go to the studio session. You take some. It put him on a whole nother level. He's like, bro, I'm telling you, bro, go over to his crib. I'm like, Chief, Nighthawk. I was like, his name Nighthawk, bro. I'm like, come on, man. So I go over to the crib. Night come outside. Hey, what's up, Jay? What's up, baby? What's up? Come to the door. I'm like, yeah, you been good? He's smiling the whole time. I'm like, these shit's finna throw me. I'm like, he's too happy right now. I'm like, all right. He's like, yeah, man. You cash up, man. Yeah. What's cash up? I was like, Chief, now y'all just give it to me. I'm like, all right, bet. He's like, all right, man, look. Let me know how you feel after you get done. You gonna be good. I was like, these gonna get me turned up. Like, what's up? He was like, you gonna feel good. All right, cool. Man, listen. I'm at the studio crying on the mic. I'm like, what are these right here? He's like, man, it was a small dose. He was like, man, I got a ceremony that I do. I think you should go to it. I'm like, okay, I'll go to it. My girl started doing a awuska and different stuff like that. I'm like, all right, I'll go. It was that spring, I was going back into football, and I was like, man, I don't know if I want to play no more. It's my last year. Music started going well for me on the production side. And he was like, man, just give it another year. He was like, but this year, I'm going to give you some frog venom in your arm. I'm going to cleanse you out. You're going to be totally different. It was like, it's definitely going to take you to a whole nother level. Man, you really don't know how much trauma you go through to make it to those high levels and be in those rooms, because there's a lot of devils in those rooms. And you really got to stay prayed up in the normal level of Christianity or Islam that we grew up in. Those prayers aren't enough. They're not enough. Yeah, I'm just keeping it really not enough. Like what that brother that King was talking about before, that stuff, that's the level that you gotta go to, because it's a spiritual warfare out here. And like I was telling my lady in the car, we're living in such a matrix. And it's one thing to understand the matrix and decode the matrix, but you're not gonna do it from a physical standpoint. We don't have enough guns in the black community for that. We don't have enough money for it. So the spiritual warfare, that side of things is things that I had to fight being in the NFL, being in those rooms with those people, being with that level of money. Like my locker was right beside Von Miller. That's a $150 million man. I got a key to lead. If you know football, you know these guys are $100 million guys, and I'm sitting right there young, like, man, wow. But it's about the energy, and the more that I started to work with Taylor's, more like my life started to change. I started to understand you gotta embody the energy. If you want that money, you gotta embody the energy. And in our community, the young men have lost that sense of, I see when they come to the studio, they got the guns on, I tell them keep it at the door. You know what I mean? All right, big bro, I got you. Yeah, we don't do that energy right here. And Taylor's really helped me set my environment and really give back to the young guys. I'm only 29. And I met him when I was about 27, 26. And he just turned me into a king. He turned me into a god. So the way that I just speak to the guys around me, the way that I treat the women in my life, you know, I love women. Men love women. I don't care what they put in the news these days. They love women. That's what they bred us to be. They bred us to love women. We love women. But oftentimes we're not able to see these mushrooms allow us to take a step back, put the ego aside, and really see it for what it really is. Yeah, babe, I was tripping. You know what I mean? Like, I ain't have to go do that. Or if it's an altercation with another man, you'd be like, you know what? Me and him actually saying the same exact thing. It's just the way he's going about it with his frequency and his energy. He going AC, I'm going to DC, but we still got energy towards it. So if we can find a medium, let's do that. And honestly, you know, I know the ones that watch football, they see that one of the best quarterbacks in the game, who is Aaron Rodgers, takes psychedelics. Changed his whole life, changed his whole game, is because at first when I was walking into the locker rooms, it was like he was saying, my vision was just like this. I was focused, I want the money, I want to go get it, I want to go handle the business, what I love to do. And then I really started seeing, like, you know, it's a lot of black men at that level that love to date women of other race, right? And I was explaining this analogy in the car. Me and you actually said the same conversation. Like the conversation that you just had when you came over here, I had that same exact conversation 5 minutes before I walked in, verbatim, every single word. And it goes back to this, right? When you're in that game, that's why I say the Matrix. And I'm gonna give you just a piece of the Matrix, and then I'm gonna go. The White House. Keep that in mind, right? When we niggas, kings, N-E-G-U-S, when we win on the field, the plantation, guess where we going after we win the Super Bowl? The White House. Okay. Most athletes date who? Okay. Okay, and why is that? When we get invited to the White House, who's at the White House? White women. It's an esteem that they've given us, that they've bred in us genetically from being on a slave plantation. Seriously, we know if we got our freedom, what do we have to do? Date a white woman, go to the north, have somebody hide us out. So it's genetically bred. So like you were saying, everything that we think is going right isn't going right. It's going left. So the perception of reality is why, and the reason why we need these shrooms is just because reality is not perception what it is no more. It's actually the opposite of what it is. And we're stuck inside of this matrix as black men. This is why I kind of had to get out of the league and I learned how to just go into business. When I got a master's in business finance from University of Texas, like I understood what I had to do before I got there. I knew what my future was before I was even there. I said, look, I can be gangster, I can have my neck tatted, but once I get off this field, I gotta go into the real world. No matter if I'm doing music, it's gonna come a certain point where I wanna go get that real money, them billions, and them hundreds of millions, and really sit down with the Rothschilds and those of the world, and they can't be scared of me. They gotta understand me, they gotta see me for what I am, because you gotta be the spook that's set by the door. Because when you get that 100 million, now put your lights down. All the way down to your ankles. Go stay on that island that you bought for your people so that they can eat fresh foods and do things like that. And Tellus just gave me a different perspective. So that's how I come with all my bros in the league, and I'm fighting a battle from an internal standpoint. Because I've been to the White House and I see what's actually going on, and those shrooms have actually helped me broaden my perspective so much that we're such a lost people right now. But at the same time, we're finding ourselves, because sometimes, all the time, before you find yourself, you gotta lose yourself. So now we're coming back to an esteem where we're finding ourselves, but the only way we're gonna get there is if, one, take the shrooms, heal the souls of the people, because it's going to heal the souls, as he taught us. And man, look, keep being y'all, keep smiles on y'all faces, man. Y'all be blessed, man. I thank y'all for having me. King J-Mo, man, pleasure.
All right. Yeah, man. Yes, sir.
Thank you for that, J-Mo. That was a unique perspective, it takes a person to be involved in that world to really speak to us about those things, because I don't play football, I don't know much about football, but it just goes to show, like, Tellus had a lot of different clientele that he would service, and they would share with him a lot of different things that, just had the bird's eye view, you know what I'm saying? And that's what's important to me at this conference, is that we have people up here that are talking about things that we may not ever get to experience, but they're here to give us a little peek inside of that world. You know what I'm saying? Because there's many worlds, not just one or two. And so that's what I really appreciate that, because it's like J-Bo was so on point, because I just could, when he passed, I couldn't contact everybody. It was a lot of people calling his phone and, hitting him up and saying, hey, can I get some mushrooms? Hey, and him and his girl was like so on point, because they were like, we feel something's not right. He's not responding to us. And I would just look at the messages and I would just be like, man, I need to send out a mass text to his clients, and stuff like that. And I was sitting on the porch and J-Mo, I was in the house actually, and I seen this car, and I recognized their car, because people would come over all the time, and I recognized this car, and I was like, this is somebody, this is probably one of Teller's clients. Sure enough, I go outside, he comes up and I tell him what happened, and he was like, man, he sat on the ground. You know what I'm saying? Right in my yard. And we just had this conversation, you know what I'm saying? Because I heard a lot about you, but I never had officially met you. Because when people come over, they go in the basement, I don't really go down there. You know, but they would always be down there and chopping it up. You know, Dee would come over and chopping it up. We had a conversation before too. And, you know, they came in the basement and we just talked about Chief and stuff. So I really appreciate you guys doing that. And y'all was so connected, you know what I'm saying? And you know you felt something, you know what I'm saying? And that's why we do these psychedelics, because it keeps us connected no matter what. You know, when he passed, I could just feel so much from the community from where I stayed at. You know what I'm saying? And when people in deep sorrow, people in shock, you know what I'm saying? People sending so much love and gratitude to me and my children. I ain't never felt nothing like that in my life. And it was such an echo, you know, and it's still echoing, you know, and to this day, so many people that never met Chief was reaching out and said, hey, you know, my condolences, you know, and that just felt so good. It was so helpful in making this transition for me and my family. Like, it did not go unnoticed for everybody who did that, you know, and it just inspired me in a way, because I felt like he lived in such a way that to have that happen, some people died, and everybody said, oh, that's crazy, and they move on. And it's not to say that they didn't do anything, but Tellus lived his life. You know, for those of you that didn't know, he was in the Marine Corps. You know, he got kicked out the Marine Corps. Because he Aquarius, and he wild, you know what I'm saying? He was stealing money from the government. just so they could go to Myrtle Beach and just ball out with SUVs and, you know, dumb shit. You know what I'm saying? And he took the rap. It was other guys in the Marine Corps that was involved, but he took the rap. And he always told me, he said, the head guy came and he sat there in front of him. He was just looking at Tellus. Tellus was like, okay. The dude said, you know, you're really good at what you do. Because he was an accountant. He said, you're really good at what you do. He said, you made one mistake. That's the only reason we saw and we caught up to you. And he said, and Tellus said, well, what was the mistake? And the dude said, I ain't telling you. Tellus was like, I want to know what the mistake was. And so that was the day that they had to go find Tellus. He's on the base, and he, with the help of some of his comrades, he leaves the base and gets out. Like, the story was so amazing, I would not do it justice, but I was sitting there like with popcorn, like, what? It sounded like some movie shit, you know what I'm saying? Because it was so clandestine how he got off the base, you know what I'm saying? And then, you know, he started doing street shit, you know, selling dope and all of that, and all those stories was crazy too, you know, and I'm like, dang, you know, and when I met him, he was a year out of prison, so he was real rough around the edges, you know what I'm saying, very institutionalized, but he was always honest with me. He said, hey, I can't, because I was like, well, I like to travel. He was like, well, I can't get no passport, I'm on the paperwork, you know what I'm saying, and I was like, okay, this is interesting, you know, so we had a time, you know, a lot of stories that me and him been through, not only in life, but in the medicine world. You know, he was always so, I always say to him, you're so courageous, you know what I'm saying? And we would communicate a lot of the times without talking. You know, he would just look at me in ceremony and be like, I'd be like, all right, you know what I'm saying? And so, it was always, that was like my friend, you know what I'm saying? It was somebody that, no matter what we went through, we never went to bed angry, you know what I'm saying? We made that pact, you know what I'm saying? We both knew how to forgive and all of those type of things. So you got somebody that you deal with, like, for real, because I didn't know that I was gonna wake up and have to deal with he'll pass it like that.
Hmm.
You know what I'm saying? It's splits of seconds. I didn't have no time to like regroup. There was no regrouping.
Hmm.
I couldn't believe that shit. Some days I still can't believe that shit.
Hmm.
So, you know, don't take this life for granted. And I felt like he didn't take this life for granted. He lived his life. You know what I'm saying? A person that walks through a different worlds, got 1 foot in this world, 1 foot in that world. They're special people. And a lot of us come from those families where we're the only ones. I know it took my family a long time to come around to me and say, you know what, you might not be crazy after all. You know what I'm saying? And when I spoke at his funeral, you know, he came through real hard. And I wore the vulture feathers that day because I was like, oh, we going in there suited and booted. You know what I'm saying? I dressed him in all his regalia that you see over there. I knew how it was supposed to look. You know what I'm saying? I'm at the funeral home. The dude say, where's his clothes? So they look at the clothes and they like, so this is crazy. They was like, well, how are we supposed to put this on? You know, and I told them how to put it on them and everything. Then I brought all the other stuff. And so the day of the funeral, the head guy at the funeral home, he said, you know, let me holler at you for a second. I said, what's up? He said, I ain't never in all my years of being at this funeral home see nobody dressed like that. He was a whole pharaoh. That's how he looked. If those of you who were there, y'all can attest to that. And that's why I had told everybody, bring some ones, bring some fives, because I knew the tradition of putting that money in the casket and all of that shit. And it was important that he got his due. When you doing all this damn work, you want somebody to recognize that shit. You know what I'm saying? So do your work. When these people standing up here and telling you, do your work, this is not just about getting high. This is about doing your work. Because what I'm seeing is that when you cross over, all the little breadcrumbs you left here is relevant. It ain't not one thing or one person you meet that's not relevant to your experiences, not only here, but when you cross over. I'm seeing that. Being loved from the other side, it's a whole different relationship than I've ever experienced in my life. You know what I'm saying? I wouldn't wish this on nobody, but I'm glad to learn. One of my goals, and I know because I'm a life path number 11, I get a lot of hard lessons. But it's all to grow me. I know it's initiation. I knew when it happened. I had to step back like it wasn't me that it was happening to, just to understand it on a higher level. We talk about ancestors, but what do we do? When somebody crosses over, some people in the community, oh, I can't go on. Well, where's your knowledge now? It's application time at that point. So I had to practice what I preach. I couldn't go into hiding. That's what I wanted to do. I was Scorpio. I was like, I just want to turn off. You know what I'm saying? And do me. I don't want to talk to nobody and none of that. But that was not what I was supposed to do. The first night he passed, I was laying on his mama's couch. And he came through and woke me up out my sleep. And he said, Anna, it's time for you to be bold. And it's time, he said, don't pussyfoot around right now. And I got up and I was like, who the fuck? Because this ain't my house. So I was like, and I know that was him because he would always be like, man, you so laid back, you know. Man, come on, you know what I'm saying? So that's why I'm here today. Because this is a birthing, this is a manifestation out of hard work. People that ain't here today, they played themselves. Period. Because this is history in the making. Mark my word, write it down on the calendar. And everybody know how Taylor said, I said I was gonna come out with a calendar of Chief Nighthawk because he would always say, let me check my calendar. Let me check my calendar. Let me get back with you. You know, and so he was real about that. Write this on your calendar, this date, because this is going forward. You're gonna look back, just like Moudou was saying, and be like, damn, y'all see this shit? Mark my word. So I just, I wanted to just share a little bit about Chief for those who didn't know him. And, I knew him almost 17 years of my life. It changed my life. We changed and grew together. I remember when we first, the shaman came in town for ayahuasca, And we was literally digging in the couches for money, like, we going. So how we gonna make it, you know what I'm saying? And we was like, okay, we'll do this over here, we'll do this. We went. And it changed our lives. You know what I'm saying? My midwife is one of the first person who told us about psychedelics. I mean, I had took mushrooms in college and stuff, but she told him about Iboga. And he was like, well, where is she? Was like, oh, it's in, what is that, Cameroon, Gabon? I don't know. But he was like, well, I guess if we're ever over there, we'll do it. You know what I'm saying? So it came to us. That's how dope we were. It came to us. It found us. You know what I'm saying? We were minding our business. And the day it came, I'm a Kundalini yoga instructor. I was in a deep meditation. And when I came out of that meditation, my ancestor said, somebody's about to call you. And literally when I opened my eyes, my phone rang and I was shook. I was like, who the hell? and they were like, hey, you know, I'm looking for a space. And I'm like, what are y'all trying to do? She was kind of saying what they was trying to do, but then she eventually told me, well, this shaman is coming to town. They're looking for a space to do a ceremony. And I was like, well, shit, I ain't got no space, but I want to go. You know what I'm saying? And Chelsea was like, yeah, we want to go, you know? And that began a journey from there to now. You know what I'm saying? Of perseverance, work, changes, going through different stressors and stuff like that, just to be here in this moment. That's why you can't take that for granted. That's why you got to make the connections that you got to make. Because you just don't never fucking know. You know what I'm saying? Don't take that shit for granted. You know, that's one thing I loved about Tellus is that he loved people. He was a straight humanitarian. You know what I'm saying? He would always just give people things. I heard so many stories when he passed. I was like, he did that, you know? But I'm in the house with him. So that was very, you know, great to hear. It shows a testament to his character and his integrity that he had. Have integrity. If you want to do this work in the future, have integrity. Build your character up. You know what I'm saying? Get up your service. Me and him did service. I'm in the service industry for years. I know what that feels like. Giving, and people just shitting on that shit. And it's people that look like us that do it the most, unfortunately. I'm like, really? I'm giving you life force energy by doing your hair, and you just looking at me like, oh, your prices is too high. What? Even they would tell us that. Like, no, this person is staying up with you all night while you puking. The fuck? That's priceless. Who do that? People shitting on themselves, people pissing on themselves. Who do that? And you got the nerve. You know what I'm saying? This ain't no glamorous work. You know what I'm saying? Sometimes I'll be in ceremony like, I want to go upstairs. This shit going on and on, like, what the hell? I just, you know, I'm grateful for all the memories. We have plenty of stories, but just grateful for all the memories and the time spent. And I'm glad that you guys got to meet him. You know, he a legend. He a legend in my book. You know what I'm saying? And a lot of times we read stuff in Egypt, we read about all these people, but we ain't never met them. You know what I'm saying? We don't know really what they was about. We just read the stories. I read a lot of, I'm a well-read person. I read a lot of books. But we have actually met somebody that we can actually connect to, that we all knew and walked the time that we talked. And when we old and gray, we could be talking about that. Y'all remember Chief Nighthawk? Well, let me tell you. You see what I'm saying? That's how it is. Baba Kalindi. Well, let me tell you about these people. Because they will be in books. If I got anything to do with it, I'm going to make it happen. You know what I'm saying? So I appreciate y'all listening to me. But,
thank you.
We're going to take a small break. You want to get some snacks or you want to get some food, this is the West End. For people that are not familiar with this area, there's a couple of places around here where you can pick up food really quick. You know, Atlanta's traffic is sometimes crazy. So if you go too far, you know, you might run into some shit. So Yeah, the city. Or you can do Uber Eats or whatever. So we'll probably get back here about, let's say 3:30 or something like that. And then we're gonna have the Tamarian Institute come up and do their thing. And I love them because their information is always interactive. You know what I'm saying? And when we were in Miami and it was like the dance, I was like, this feels so good, you know, and I feel like we gotta move our bodies, you know, that's important. It is working with energy. You know what I'm saying? Sometimes I would have people just stand up during the ceremony, and that's what would get the purge, or I have them stretch. So we're gonna welcome them back. You don't want to miss that. So yeah, DJ Khalil. So we'll be back here. Also, I wanted to say we have vendors outside. Please check out their wares and their products, their services. Buy some, you know what I'm saying? Because I'm appreciative. We only got 4 vendors. But I'm happy to have the 4 that I got. Because next year it's gonna be a clamoring for, can I come? I'm gonna be like, I don't know. I would give dibs to the people that's here this time. You know what I'm saying? Who see the vision. You know, because you tell us was a visionary. Straight up. He saw even this. That's why I'm doing it. So yeah, thank y'all.
Thank you. All right.